Hello and welcome to Samantha Sutherland TV. I'm your host and I'm so pleased to have you on this very special episode. I've actually driven over to Heathrow to meet a phenomenal guest. I'm going to introduce you to him right now. Now, his name is Ed Ponsi and he's the Managing Director of Barchetta Capital Management LLC, and he's also the President of FX Educator LLC. He is a professional trader, he is a published author and an in-demand public speaker. And I'm going to let him tell you also what he likes to do in his spare time. Okay, so Ed has appeared on CNBC over 75 times. He's also appeared on CNN, as well as the BBC, Bloomberg TV, and Samantha Sutherland TV. Okay, so Ed, I'd like you to let the Samantha Sutherland TV audience know how and when you realized your passion for trading.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Samantha. I realized it probably about in the late 90s. Everyone got very excited about the stock market in the US, and I got involved in it too. I was able to make some money, probably because I was lucky, but I knew that I didn't know what I was doing, so I decided I was going to go about it, and I got a job on Wall Street. It wasn't the greatest job, but I got my foot in the door and worked my way up the ladder from there.
Phenomenal. So how would you describe to a total newbie the actual process of trading? What would you describe trading as to somebody that doesn't know what it is?
Now basically what I do, I exchange one currency for another, just like you might do at the airport. The only difference is I'm doing it as a speculator. My belief is that one currency will outperform the other. That's how I make a living, and that's how I make money for my clients.
That sounds really exciting. So Ed, could you help me out and let us know, let the Samantha Sutherland TV audience know, is it actually possible for somebody to learn how to trade from home and create their own at-home business as a trader?
Absolutely. A lot of people have done it, but I'm not going to tell you that it's easy. There certainly have been a lot of people who have tried and failed. You have to get the good education, learn how to do it correctly. There are plenty of people out there who offer education, but not everyone who's in the education business is actually a trader or in the trading business. Okay,
so we now have some questions from Shadrach Straker. Now, Shadrach's somebody who came along to the Young Entrepreneurs Bootcamp, and thank you so much, Shadrach, for putting in some questions for my guests. Okay, that very nicely leads us into Ed Ponsi's DVD course, and I'm going to very quickly tell you all about it. And Ed, please do, let us know. You could add a little extra here and there. So what we've got a complete comprehensive training course. So people that want to learn how to trade foreign exchange, this is the course for you. Okay, so what we've got is nearly 5 hours of professional instructions, 10 detailed technical trading strategies which will be making you money. What can you tell us about some of these strategies, Ed?
Well, I used to teach this course one-on-one, and the demand became so great there was no way I could possibly teach everybody individually. I would be teaching every day for the rest of my life and still never accomplish that. But we decided, let's put it all on DVD, and then anybody can have it. Anybody can watch it over and over again. You'll always have it. There's lots of great information. I don't hold anything back. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I try to never hold anything back. And so I told everything that I know. There will never be a sequel to this DVD. There's nothing left to tell. We cover everything that's important: technical, fundamental, risk management. If it's important, it's on there.
Fantastic. I just love the fact that you can get one DVD, learn how to trade, and if you were going to give a couple of bits of advice, for example, somebody that's going to start trading, how long would you recommend that person would actually trade on demo before they went live?
That's a great question. I think demo trading is very important. People get too excited. They think this is going to be easy. It's not easy. And I would say 6 months to a year would be a great time. You want to make sure that you're, of course, hitting the correct buttons on all of that, but you also have to get the feel for how this market moves. How does it react to news? How does the euro move when Bernanke gives a speech? It does have an effect, and these are the type of things we have to get used to this if we're going to trade for a living and do it successfully.
Fantastic. So we're looking at about 6 months on demo. Could you explain the drawdown and what people would need drawdown wise to actually look at their demo account to know that actually we're at a right space and we can actually take this live and put their money into a live account and start trading?
That's a very important question. The drawdown's very important. We have to make sure not only that it's not just about making money. It's about protecting money and making sure you don't lose big. So we try to limit the drawdowns as much as possible. I always recommend that we never risk more than 2% of the amount of money in the account on any one trade, because you know what happens? A lot of folks get in this business, they get overexcited, and then they place too large of a trade, they take too much risk, and that's how they get hurt. That's the main thing I want to tell you, is how to avoid getting hurt. If you can avoid getting hurt, you can stay in the game. If you can stay in the game, you can get good at the game. That's the key.
Fantastic. And there's also one other thing that I'd like to add to that. There's a very special friend out there who's over in Switzerland. Hello. And she goes out and puts trades on with no stops. What would you like to say about that?
If I were you, I'd be careful. Let's put it this way. If you're not going to use stops, keep the positions very small so that you could tolerate a very large adverse move. Sometimes people don't put on stops because they're worried that the broker is going to come out and try to get the stops, and that does happen, I'm not going to lie. But if you're going to trade without stops, just trade really small and be prepared, because at some point, if you're not willing to get out and take a small loss, at some point the market's going to hand you a large loss. So be careful, please.
Okay, well, we know about those large losses. It is just a case of putting the trades on and going shopping. You're so bad.
A lot of people get paid for advising people how to trade. They're called analysts. And you can, if you really know your stuff and study up, you can become an analyst. There are other ways to get paid in this business. There are people like myself who trade other people's money, OPM. Of course, that's always been a way to become wealthy, but you better know what you're doing, because believe me, losing a client's money is worse than losing your own money. It really hurts. You don't want to ever be in that position, so you better know what you're doing. But you can be an analyst, you can be a trader, and there are a lot of trading-related jobs that are out there. Just keep looking around. You'll see. They're available.
Fantastic. And the last question from Shadrach is, what should you take into consideration when selecting a broker to trade on your behalf? And this is from somebody who done the Young Entrepreneurs Bootcamp, so I know he's referring to a smaller budget than probably the entry for your business.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the problem. Is if you want somebody to trade your money, if they're good, they're in demand, and that makes them a commodity. That makes it difficult. We have, at Barchetta, we have a $250,000 US minimum. And we like to keep it small in terms of the number of clients. It's very difficult to manage a large quantity of small accounts. But there are people out there who would be willing to give it a go. But before you hand your money over to anyone, you look for their track record, and you want to have a severable contract. In other words, they don't get your money. You put your money in your account and you give them trading authorization, which is very different from, say, allowing them to withdraw your money, which was a definite no-no. So there's a very, very key distinction. If you're speaking with a professional, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, then just walk away, because if they don't understand that aspect of it, you don't want them to touch your money.
Okay, and is that what we refer to as PAM? P-A-M-M?
Yeah, some places, and perhaps here in the UK, I'm not really sure, allow you to set up accounts so that you can manage multiple client accounts. So if I have one press of the button, I can buy the euro in dozens of accounts simultaneously and on a percentage basis. So the person who has the account twice as large, he gets twice as much. and he who has the account half as large gets half as much.
Yeah.
Percentage allocation. It's a fantastic tool, and it's a great way to manage money and multiple accounts all at once. It makes life very easy for people like me.
Okay, so basically what we're looking at is ensuring that when looking for a broker, they don't have direct access to your money. Would you recommend that?
Well, when you talk about a broker, as far as someone managing your money, yes, they should never have direct access to your funds. It should be your account in your name, and then they sign a trading authorization form. Ask the broker. They all have one available. Say, I want this person to authorize trading, but they are not authorized to do anything else. That's how it's done correctly. As far as the brokerage company themselves, look for well-capitalized companies. The big names tend to be the safest ones. They need to be regulated, but they're very willing to answer questions. So don't be afraid to give them a call, send them an email. If they're legit, they'll get right back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Shadrach, for those questions. Okay, so I'm really excited to tell you about Ed Ponsi's brand new book. It's called Selling America Short: New World Order versus the American Middle Class. I highly recommend you go out there and grab your own personal copy. I've got mine and Ed signed it. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, I'd like to read a little bit from the book. Okay, just so you can get an idea of what it's about, and Ed's going to talk a little bit about it. Okay, so here we go. Life is getting harder for the American middle class. People are working longer hours and have less and less to show for their efforts. Did this just happen, or is there something more sinister at work? This is not a work of fiction, but the real story of the dismantling of the American dream. Does that sound familiar? All is not as it seems. The same voices that claim to support and defend the middle classes are systematically destroying it. Selling America Short exposes the real reasons behind America's decline and how to put a stop to it. Author Ed Ponsi pulls no punches, naming and exposing the motivations of those who are killing the American dream. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a collection of indisputable facts, hard evidence that weaves a more fascinating tale that is stranger than fiction and more terrifying than a horror story. Ed, please, could you tell us some more about this book?
Okay, Selling America Short, it's not a conspiracy theory, obviously. What I did, as a currency trader, you learn certain things, and you become more involved in currencies, more than just a speculator. One of the things I did, I realized that currencies collapse in countries quite frequently, so I interviewed people who lived through it. With the help of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, I went through their network, and we found people from Zimbabwe, Brazil, Bulgaria, the former USSR, countries all around the world where the currency had collapsed. We wanted to know, what was it like? You know, how do you survive? How do you get by? And the answers were fascinating. You see, people in my country, the United States, have never lived through this. I fear someday they might, and I just want to help them prepare to understand what's happening and why. And if things ever do get to the point where the dollar takes a tumble, I want them to know how to deal with it, how to get by, and how to survive and thrive in that type of environment.
And can I just add as well that even though you've titled it as though it's just for America, us in the UK and around the world, we're all going through very similar things. You know, they say that if America coughs, the UK catches a cold. So I'm basically recommending that all of the Samantha Sutherland TV audience go out and purchase a copy of your book, because we do need to be prepared just as America.
Well, you know, with so much going on right now and our central banks pumping money out into the system, at some point that could create a serious problem down the road. So I agree, not only in the United States and Great Britain, but all around the world. A funny thing happened after I wrote this book. I was asked to appear at the United Nations because some people who were much smarter than I am took a look at that book and said, you know, this has international implications. Many currencies are tied to the dollar. The price of many types of food are tied to the dollar. And if the U.S. goes through an inflationary period, someone somewhere is not going to be able to afford to eat. About 1 in 7 people in this world are on the verge of starvation at any given time. We can't haphazardly create inflation that might affect people all around the world just to try to bail out our banks or try to make our lives a little bit more comfortable. It might not be the right thing to do. That's one of the things that we explore in Selling America Short.
Fantastic. Well, I'd like to commend you so much for writing the book, and I will be taking it to bed with me tonight and reading it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I'd like to wrap up the show with a bit of advice from my special guest, Ed Ponsi. Now, at the time of recording the show, the UK, as well as the majority of the developed world, has been in recession. So what advice would you give to people that are starting to trade and people that are trading right now? What would you say to them in these times of recession, Ed?
Well, the economy might be bad for investing, but it's not necessarily bad for trading. All the volatility and fluctuation that we're seeing in the markets, again, it's bad for investors. It's not necessarily bad for traders who are trying to jump in, make some money, and jump out. So, in a way, you could say this is not a bad time at all for trading. It might be a great time to learn everything you can and do the best you can, because it's not going to be easy, but it definitely can be done.
And it's definitely worth it. Remember, if you're watching from home and you're going to, let me just grab it here. You're going to grab this DVD, as I said before. Please do grab it. I know you probably can't see it properly because Ed's autographed it for me, but it's the it's the FX Educator, Forex Trading with Ed Ponsi. We're looking at the trading strategies for the Forex market. I highly recommend you go and grab a copy of this. And you can do that by logging onto Ed's website, which is fxeducator.com. And is there another website that you can give us? Because I know you've got at least 2 websites, haven't you?
Right. Well, we have fxeducator.com and we have edponsi.com, which is just Ed Ponsi, P-O-N-S-I, not Z-I. And barchettacapital.com is my money management business. So we have education, we have money management, and we have edponsi.com. So 3 great sites. Check them out. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff on those sites in the near future.
Fantastic. And I know what your hobby is. Would you like to let the Samantha Sutherland TV audience know about your hobby?
Oh, well, everyone knows that I play guitar, right? That's how I worked my way through school. And I wish I'd brought my guitar today to play a song for you. That's my hobby.
Okay, Samantha Sutherland TV is very proud to announce that we have been nominated for an Ebony Business and Recognition Award in the category of Education, Training and Youth Services.
Well, I've cast my vote. You know I voted for Samantha, and I hope everybody out there will do the same.
Please do. Okay, so how to vote? Log on to samanthasutherland.com, click Vote for Samantha, and the instructions are right there. So, vote for Samantha Sutherland TV to win the Ebony Business and Recognition Award, and we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you. And you can put a couple of kisses on the bottom as well.
Oh, absolutely. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Hey guys, I've got my signed copy. So you've seen it here live on Samantha Sutherland TV.